Hello and welcome to the pod. Now, usually I put the trailer in for the movie we're about to discuss, but unfortunately, The Longest Days trailer is so bad I can't inflict it on you. It's not even bad in a good way. It's just dull and doesn't work as sound only. So I'm going to bypass that and get on with our D-Day celebrations as Tim Hewitt and I discuss The Longest Day starring, well, just about everyone. Links are in the show notes, and if you can share, rate and subscribe, I'd be enormously grateful. But until then, it's Tim and me discussing The Longest Day. Tim, welcome back to Film Club. I mean, this is very much D-Day themed month because, of course, it's the 80th anniversary. And so today we are doing The Longest Day, directed by, it's got a number of directors. Which is
three directors.
Sorry?
Three directors.
Three. Yes, three. British and French director, Ken Anakin. An American director, Andrew Martin. And the German director is Bernhard Wicki.
Well, actually, need to clarify it's that the British and French director is actually he's directing the British and French segment.
Yes.
Or segments. The American director is directing the American segment, and the German, but I don't think they're actually like Bernhard Wicki is actually Austrian Swiss, I think.
Important clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. Andrew.
Why do they do that?
Do what?
You know, split it up.
It's a very good question. Big undertaking, 3-hour film, 1962, logistical, maybe. That's a good question, but efficiency, maybe.
Well, and then starring, and I think up until A Bridge Too Far, that was made about 15 years later. It was made 15 years later. I don't think we've seen such a strong cast in one film.
Yeah, I think A Bridge Too Far takes it a lot even further. I mean, The Bridge Too Far is ridiculous in terms of its star quality.
Yeah, it is.
It has everyone. You know the game that you play, 6 Degrees of Separation. You know, you've got to get from one actor to another through films, and I think you've got like 6 steps to do it in.
And you've got to get to Kevin Bacon, don't you?
You can. That was an original. Yeah, you've got to you use Kevin Bacon as the star, or whatever. But A Bridge Too Far basically is the film to use.
Yeah,
if you can get into someone in A Bridge Too Far, you're sorted. But yeah, I agree. This was quite a amazing cast.
So I'm going to rattle off some names for the listeners. If for the few listeners who've not seen it, it's John Wayne, Kenneth More, Richard Todd, Robert Mitchum, Richard Burton, Steve Forrest, Sean Connery, Henry Fonda, Red Buttons, Peter Lawford, Eddie Albert, Jeffrey Hunter, Stuart Whitman, Tom Tryon, Rod Steiger, Leo Glenn, Gert Frobe, Irina Demick, Bourville, Kurt Jurgens, George Segal, Robert Wagner, Paul Anka, and Arletty. So some of those names aren't actually actors. I think Arletty's was a singer. I think more. Well, I think she was a bit of both.
Did you mention Edmund O'Brien? A great actor.
I don't think I did.
Brilliant actor. Love him.
Right. Red Buttons was more of a comedian, I think. And
did you mention Roddy McDowall?
I didn't mention Roddy McDowall.
He's there.
He's June. My old daddy used to take me fishing in June. What else? Have we missed anyone else then?
I think that's pretty much it, actually, in terms of, well, apart from the people that you mentioned that weren't necessarily the sort of superstars, but yeah, pretty impressive. Sometimes I do wonder why, and I'm assuming it's because of the subject matter, because, oh yeah, sure, I'll be in a film about D-Day, this epic 3-hour, but you do sometimes wonder why on earth some of them said, okay, I'll do this, because they are nothing more than very small cameos. Edmund O'Brien is an amazing character actor. I love from the 40s film noirs. He was in and he was in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance with John Wayne, funnily enough. He's kind of Henry Fonda's superior. It's like, what? I mean, what? Was this a favor?
Is he in it for sort of less than a minute?
Yeah, about a minute, maybe 2. He has a very brief conversation with Henry Fonda, which will eventually get us onto a discussion about character, because, you know, it's not a film that you go into, I really really want to see some serious character development.
Well, that's the
not gonna
thing. This watching it back, I found
happen.
it actually quite a difficult film to watch
Because
because
it's
each actor, who's a massive name, as we've just rattled off, literally has, I think, probably John Wayne has the most screen time, maybe. I don't know.
yeah.
Um,
Then maybe Mitchum.
yes, but even so, I think they probably get maximum 10 minutes.
Yeah. You see Robert Mitchum is introduced, and then you don't see him for nearly 2 hours. You know,
Sean Connery, who, okay, fair enough. His greatest claim to fame was Darby O'Gill and the Little People up until then.
Yeah, I mean, he really wasn't who he is, who he became, was he?
But he made Doctor No that very same year.
Yeah. So I think that he was on the cusp.
Yes. So I think it's very interesting because he is in it for what, 2 minutes maximum?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
But your eye is drawn to him because he's Sean Connery.
Now, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he has a slightly prominent role in the sense that he's not a quiet, brooding background character. He's vocal. He's quite, and to the point where you're like, this is about to play James Bond in a very cool manner, but he's a bit, he's like a rowdy complaint. He's just basically, he was a bit pissed off. But he jumps off the boat and he's like, and you're like, oh yeah, Sean Connery.
Well, yeah, it's funny because he is, I don't know if he seems to play an infantry officer, but then somehow ends up in the commando brigade and to relieve Pegasus Bridge. But let's not get too.
Was he? I thought he lands on the beach.
He does. He lands on the beach alongside the
Yeah.
Lord. Well, he then joins up with Lord Lovett's commando brigade.
Of course he does. Yeah,
which landed on the beach, and their job. And for listeners who have not listened to Saul David's masterclass on Pegasus Bridge, he goes into that in great detail. But yes, Lord Lovett, played by Peter Lawford.
Yes, Peter Lawford. Did you mention him?
I think I did. Peter Lawford was playing Lord Lovett, whose mission was to, once he landed on the beaches, was to, as soon as he could, head inland to the Pegasus Bridge and the canal, the bridges that are going over the canal and the river, to relieve the paratroopers who'd got there the night before. Yeah, so somehow Sean Connery gets mixed up in that. I don't quite know why, but anyway, I think it's one of those ones you don't really worry about. But I mean, this is quite a weird film for us to do because it's so bitty.
Yeah, it is. It's almost episodic, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I saw it years ago. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to, I want to put this out there. I've seen it loads of times when I was younger and loved it. Having watched it again recently, I don't think it's a very good film.
It's ambitious. There are I will say, some excellent parts, but as a whole, I'm on the fence. I don't know. I don't think it's a great film.
No.
I don't think it's a shit film.
No, it's not a disaster.
There are lots of things that I have issues with. Now, firstly, okay, let's forget. I mean, for example, I just go, what is Richard Burton doing I mean, what made him go, oh gosh, I'd like to play that character? He has two scenes. His first scene is in the pub, and his colleague has just been killed. He's the RAF pilot, and his colleague's been shot down in the channel, over the channel. And funnily enough, his screen partner in that scene was in Where Eagles Dare, playing a Nazi, a British spy.
Donald Houston. I love Donald Houston.
Which was quite interesting.
He also plays Memnon in Alexander the Great, also starring Richard Burton.
Excellent. Bit of trivia. And then his next scene is he's been shot down and he's got a very badly wounded leg. And you just think, well, okay, well, it's Richard Burton. Okay. Now, aside from these sort of weird cameos that pop up, I would say that some of the acting is a bit iffy.
Can we go back? So you've mentioned Richard Burton in the scene with Donald Houston. And I actually think Richard Burton, full disclosure, I'm a great fan of Richard Burton. I think he's wonderful.
Me too.
So I think he's going to appear in my nominations for awards in this because I think he's so good in it.
Okay.
But the scene in the mess when yeah, as you say, his comrade has been shot down, the bottom of the English Channel. He's very good in it because he's pissed off,
Yeah.
disillusioned, grief stricken.
And sick of waiting.
Yes. And then Donald Houston, flying officer Neil, is like he's playing a sort of stereotype of an RAF officer. He's sort of saying, "Damn it, I want to go," and so
Yeah.
get Jerry, and it's just
Well,
churning out all this language.
this is actually leading. This is a very good way into my. I'm really sorry, British listeners, but the weakest performances, in my opinion, do come mainly from the Brits, because it's a bit old-fashioned. I call it like a bit like commercial acting, as in commercials on the TV, like they're talking to children. Like, for example, there's the scene where the guys on the they're before they're going, and they're just having it's pissing down with rain, and they're two guys are running with their food, their mess, and one's like, "Oh, she's only pregnant. Oh, she's pregnant, see?" And it's
"Oh, blimey, governor."
Yeah, it's like, and whereas what the Germans, I'll be honest, they're going to be some German nominations for me in the performances, because they are pure natural, but like really down to earth, realistic, natural performances. The Americans are as well, but there are some who are like, God damn, what are we going to do? And the gambling scene, it's just like, give me 50. It's all a bit old fashioned, but that's one of my. Whereas sometimes, like, Henry Fonda comes in, and you're like, oh, here's a pro. He's good. He's good.
That's what I thought about Richard Burton, actually.
He is. He's pretty. He's great. He's a great actor.
He comes in, he's brilliant, and then he's done.
Yeah, Mitchum's good. Mitchum's, because these guys are old pros, not old age-wise, but they're, from the 40s. They've been, Edmund O'Brien. Now, okay, John Wayne, right? I've always had an issue with the fact that it's John Wayne. That is John Wayne doing John Wayne in everything. There are some performances he's done where you're like, yeah, getting there's sort of deep-rooted character profundity there that's getting, a bit more interesting than your stock John Wayne performance. But I'll be honest, I've never thought John Wayne a brilliant actor. I've always been drawn more to people like Gary Cooper, James Stewart, like, a little bit, but because he's a bit by rote. Some of the things he's doing in this is just like, as John Wayne sort of giving orders.
Yeah, he's playing John Wayne. But, that people make this argument or criticism of Clint Eastwood. Yeah,
but Clint Eastwood can when he watch films like The Beguiled, to go away from his. I still think, he's brilliant as Dirty Harry.
He's an icon.
He is an icon, but he has delivered some.
But John Wayne's an icon as well.
Yeah, but I think in a different
way. Different era, but an icon nonetheless.
Because I think that Clint Eastwood has done very good character roles that actually have disguised the icon. That you're watching a character. Not always. There are obviously Clint Eastwood movies, inverted commas. It's Clint Eastwood. Every Which Way But Loose. Every Which Way, those sorts of, they're not particularly deep character work. And I've never been a massive John Wayne super fan. In his John Ford films, they're all kind of, hyper American, patriotic flag waving, just a vehicle for John Wayne a lot of the time. This is maybe sacrilegious to a lot of people, but
yeah, well, I think John Wayne's great. I've got to say,
but he's great to what? He is an icon.
You can't help,
it's like, it's uber American type.
In this, he's sticking up for the Brits in it. He has a row with his captain, who says to him, "We're itching to go," and John Wayne goes, "Well, I'm sure the Brits who've been waiting here for 50, for 2 years are itching to go."
4 years or whatever. Like, he's like, and when they reach that town, and the two parachutists are hanging dead, and he's like, "Get those boys down,"
Yeah,
because no one's taking them down.
yeah, he's great.
It's John Wayne though, so
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but what's not to love? Yeah, I mean, because I watched a load of the John Ford's movies, and so I think John Wayne's just brilliant. You know, The Searchers is one of the best westerns ever
I
made.
really, yeah. See, I've always felt it was a little bit overrated.
Mm.
Whereas the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is one of my favorite John Ford films, and in fact, the only one I really like. But so this is in this, it's not a film where you're going to be like, God, but the characters and the acting is amazing. It's apart from there are some like the wonderful surprise on the beach when you first meet Kenneth More. I thought he was really. I mean, it was like, yeah, now he's great. He is great.
He is so good in it.
And the Germans, I think, are fantastic. Particularly, I'm a massive fan, which actually will bring us on to a very interesting point. Kurt Jurgens
Yeah, he's very good. He's
as Major Gunther Blumentritt.
He plays von Ronstadt's deputy.
Yes, and along with, which is an interesting point, along with Gert Frober and Sean Connery, we've got a Bond and 2 Bond villains in the same film.
Yes, great that.
But Kurt is, I love his voice. I think he's very real. It's such a real performance, and he's up there with one of my nominations probably. But
we could also say that there is a third villain of a Bond parody. Robert Wagner's in it.
Oh yeah, that's true. He is. Yeah, so there is a bit of a Bond connection in this film before anyone knew about it.
Yeah, so I think the German side of it. But what it does do very well, I suppose, is it does tell you the story of what happened on D-Day pretty accurately. It's based, of course, on the Cornelius Ryan non-fiction book, which is brilliant. It's brilliant.
And he wrote the screenplay.
Oh, did he write the screenplay?
Yeah.
That explains why. Well, he was one of the writers of the screenplay. Was he the main writer of the screenplay?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. That might explain, maybe don't get historians to write the screenplay.
Because it's just it's too factual. This is what happened one event after the other.
Well,
and maybe there's no narrative kind of whole.
I think Robert Mitchum might be the only person you really, because he's there at the end. And maybe Richard Todd's character holding the bridge.
I think Richard Todd's character is good but also, you see, there's an example of a slightly inconsistent aspect to the narrative, funnily enough, is that Richard Todd's really the only character that has this voiceover in his head. That you're like, we've just met him. We don't know anything about him. And there's this kind of, it's almost like all the other characters' voiceovers were removed except his, which gives it a slightly inconsistent feel. But Richard Todd's story I like a lot. His journey.
Yes, playing Major John Howard, and of course we covered that in the episode on Pegasus Bridge. So I'm not going to go over the history of it, but what is quite funny in this is, of course, Richard Todd was actually an officer in the operation. But what is also quite funny is that in the film, there is I don't think he's even appears in the credits. There is an actor who plays Richard Todd.
Oh, really?
And Richard Todd gives a command to himself.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, so Major Howard gives a command to Richard Todd, an officer, and of course, Richard Todd is
really good.
Yeah, it's quite funny that.
Yeah, he's great. I like Richard Todd a lot. In fact, he wasn't not now. He's not regarded as like a superstar, but he was so good in pretty much everything he did.
In the 50s, he was quite big, wasn't he? He was sort of him and Dirk Bogart were the kind of matinee idols.
Sort of legendary status, or their legacy slightly disappeared. I really like. Todd was in The Dam Busters. He was actually in a really good Hitchcock film called Stage Fright, which I really like, in 1950, with Marlene Dietrich and Jane Wyman, and he's kind of like the lead, and I think he's really charismatic.
I've met him.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, he was lovely, charming, very charming. It was in about 2000. It was at my. I've mentioned this already, so I don't want to bore the listeners, but it was in the funeral of my godfather, and he
Oh,
was
wow.
a
Okay.
friend of his in Lincolnshire. So, lovely man. And
Fantastic.
I'm just trying to think who else of the British actors
Mm.
were sort of notable.
Well, we've mentioned Kenneth More because I think he's brilliant.
He's very funny. Well, my grandmother said anything mechanical, give it a good whack. And of course it then worked.
Yeah. Does that work? And it does, you know.
Yeah. The dog called Winston. That's great.
Yeah. He's in a great film in the when he plays Douglas. Is it Barder or Vader?
Douglas Bader, yeah.
Barder.
Yes. An awful human being, Douglas Bader, by all accounts. The other thing is that I
Mm.
thought the scenes, it was interesting is you have to kind of talk scenes because it's not really a much of a plot other than D-Day.
Other than what happens and the wait, of course, they're trying to build the suspense of when is it going to come, when's it going to come, and it is a long wait. You're waiting with them. It's
Yeah.
like an hour.
I did cry.
Of course you did.
I cried when they get the green light and
Yeah.
then you see this vast armada. And it made me think when I was watching this vast armada heading
Mhm.
to France, right after the meeting with Eisenhower, who looked like Eisenhower actually played him.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I thought that's brilliant casting.
Yeah. I mean, he spoke like him as well. It's
Yeah.
funny. No, it was right after he sort of gives the command. Then you kind of get the sort of they show the armada heading away from Portsmouth and all the ports, and it made me think all these. There were nearly 3 million men involved in D-Day, and it made me think that is just like such an awesome that made me just feel like such an awesome display of kind of teamwork amongst all these different
Yes,
nations
absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
liberate France. And it was
Yeah.
all very much, it really appeals to my sort of one team, one dream.
I mean, the Americans must have been, what the hell are we doing here? The young soldiers must have been like, where am I? I mean, they were a long way from home. Having spent so much time in Britain with, terribly British, probably for them rather a backward society in the
In
way
some
that even the
ways,
practical things work to like sinks, you know, two taps in one sink, one boiling hot and one freezing. They must have been. And what are they drinking? What is the stuff they're drinking?
warm beer.
And
Yes.
this weather is just ridiculous. Typical that the British weather is just delaying the order.
I found that a
Mm.
very emotional, and there's no, you don't actually see really people. You just see this sort of huge
Yeah,
armada.
yeah.
So that did get me, I'm afraid.
And the French who live on the
Now,
the French who live on the coast in the
yes.
house.
Well, I think something like 30,000 French civilians were killed in the bombardments of Normandy. But we haven't mentioned the French. We're going to get to the award in the scene. I mean, there is an extraordinary shot that
Mm.
you will, I'm sure, appreciate. But I found in the involvement of these they were very good-looking French commandos who just were super cool.
Yeah,
And
true.
Lord Lovett, I think, is on the ship over, and he's saying, and of course our French comrades, and
Mm.
they literally rise, they get up,
Yeah.
and their chests are out, and
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, one thing that it maybe does display is that sense, like you say, of unity and teamwork and nations coming together in quite possibly the most dramatic single conflict ever, the actual landings. Then, after the whole wait, then we get to the actual event. I mean, there's a massive build up because there are other scenes, when they parachute in.
the glide.
Mm.
Can we talk about the glider landing, because that happens before the beach landing? So it's quite funny. They use the same clip of a glider going through a barbed wire fence 3 times.
That's so true. You've got to get to grips with the viewers who haven't seen it, and then who maybe after this want to see it. That you do have to get to grips with some of the 1960s filmic devices.
CGI.
Yeah, the superimposed. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's a really great shot. The beach is, and then there's 2 actors talking that they're not on the beach. They are probably in a studio and they've been superimposed onto the beach. And the same goes for the plane, the POV shot out of the plane's cockpit. Yeah, fine. You get it. It's, of course, it's not CGI modern day filmmaking, but if you get around that, if you accept it, there's still tense moments. And this will come into the scene, the best scenes that we're going to talk about. Really good scene where they plant the dynamite for the train with the woman on the bike. I got drawn in. That's a suspenseful scene. Also, we haven't mentioned the fact that I'm so glad that in this day and age, we had Where Eagles Dare to Come, where you and I have actually talked about, Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton are fluent in German. They just speak English, and they're obviously speaking German. It's just brilliant that everyone speaks their own language in this film, because it creates the conflict as well. When the woman's on the bike, she's French, and the Germans shout, "Where are you going?" And she's like, she doesn't respond. And then they speak French to her. And you're like, oh, this is actually quite suspenseful. And there are a number of suspenseful scenes, actually, I think. That one's one of them. I mean, the on the beach, the Mitchum, planting the explosives under the.
I think it's a bunker.
Is it bunker? Bunker. Yeah, sorry, it's a bunker.
But you have to. It has sort of mastery of the beach, so they have to get the Bangalore bomb.
There are other. There's one that's sort of good, but it slightly annoyed me. Is when they parachute into they've all fall into the main square where all the Germans are. And one of the soldiers he's hanging by the bell tower. And he's just, man, I was just like, what are you doing? Stop, just grab the bars behind you. What's wrong with you? Because he's just watching his colleagues getting shot wide-eyed, and he gets a bit upset, And I'm like, okay, fine, it's a shock, but just get to move on. And in fact, someone shoots his foot. A German soldier shoots his foot. Just could have been a bit better, but
that's but I think they were trying to stick to what happened. But that was at St Mary Église, yes.
That was slightly imposing a sentimentality into the scene that I don't know was really necessary.
Well, before we get to our awards, we need to address the beach landings as compared to, I think, another film now that I think if you were to ask me tomorrow, watch Saving Private Ryan or The Longest Day, I'm going to be watching Saving Private Ryan, I'm afraid, every single day.
Weirdly, that's probably because of the opening scene, not the rest of Saving Private Ryan. Mind you, I think the end of Saving Private Ryan, the battle at the end is extraordinary as well.
The opening scene is with the old boy going to the cemetery.
Yeah, sorry, we tend to call the beach landing as the opening scene, but it's technically not. That's Spielberg's sentimentality coming into it, very much so. That bookend in the cemetery, but in a way, the opening of it, when he does go into the actual, where all the graves are, and he drops to his knees, it's all worth it simply because of for the camera pull into his face as the sea sounds crescendo, and then it just cuts to one static shot. Dog green sector.
Yeah, and he plays a trick on the viewer, doesn't he? Because he makes the eyes of the old boy, and then you see Tom Hanks, so you think it's the same person.
And it's the transition between the smooth camera move, it's more colorful, and then to this desaturated, unbelievably shaky handheld camera action. Now, the issue, as we were talking before we came on air, is that unfortunately Saving Private Ryan was made that when you watch it and then you watch The Longest Day, unfortunately The Longest Day is extraordinarily tame. We know that Omaha Beach, but in particular, was that the casualties were at their worst. And when you watch The Longest Day, you don't really get that impression.
I mean, if you get shot in The Longest Day, there's no blood. It clutch your intact combat dress.
Yeah.
It has no holes in it.
And the thing is that Spielberg, brilliantly, I always say, no matter what he does is, even in his, say, worst films, but even in the films that, aren't at the top of his game, he still does something original. And I vividly remember watching Saving Private Ryan in the cinema for the very first time when it came out. And, within moments, Tom Hanks barks some orders in the boat, and then the front, they open it, and bang, the machine gun starts. They all start getting ripped to pieces, and then they all jump over the sides. And, Spielberg just puts the camera into that kind of soldier's POV where it ducks under the water. So the sound design is extraordinary, and is suddenly silenced by being underwater, and you just hear the rumble. And I remember sitting in the cinema going, "Are you bastard? That's brilliant. That's very original."
Yeah, it's great.
With the bullets whizzing through the water. And then everything is enhanced in terms of horror. I mean, it's just the way the camera's bouncing. I remember in The Longest Day, there's a nice tracking shot up the entire width of the beach. I thought that was nice. It opened up the scope. You saw the amount of people there. You kind of get that impression that it's...
Is that with the Luftwaffe come in?
No, it's just before that. But the horror, of course, now that Spielberg made Saving Private Ryan, wasn't really particularly hard-hitting in The Longest Day.
No, I think you're a little bit harsh about the Saving Private Ryan, actually, because I think there are a number of other scenes that I really like in it, like the ones with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, no, of course, it's not that. The only problem is that you do sometimes think to yourself, I know we're following Americans, but you kind of want to go, any Brits, French, any Canadians? I don't know, anywhere, literally anywhere. Could they not just walk by, just like say hello past each other or something? Get the idea that there are other members of the Allies there.
I suppose so. I'm less bothered by it, actually.
However, there are, when Giovanni Ribisi gets hit, that's an extraordinary performance, in my opinion. And I always, this is going to sound really harsh as well, but I compare that, for example, I saw 1917, and when the kid's shot and is dying, I felt like I was watching... This is a lot of people may disagree, but I felt like I was watching just a bit of television acting. And then you watch Giovanni Ribisi die in Saving Private Ryan, and
the medic.
The medic, and he's calling for his mother, and they're desperately trying to say, what can we do for you? And his voice is, he is extraordinary. I actually think he should have got an award for that film. There are amazing bits. The scene, I mean, Saving Private Ryan isn't, don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant film. Spielberg won Best Director for it, which I think was deservedly done, because he, its construction is amazing. And the end sequence is fantastic.
Yeah, it's very good. And I mean, the landing on the beach scene, Omaha, it's not perfect. Obviously the beach furniture is the wrong way around.
Why would that happen?
Well,
in a film that sequence took 6 weeks to shoot.
Yes, well, listeners, sharp-eared listeners who heard the episode with Gordon Corrigan, his friend was fired as the historical consultant on the film. For I think I can't quite remember exactly why he was fired, but as he was leaving the set, he noticed that all the beach furniture, all the obstructions were the wrong way around. Because he had just been fired, he didn't tell Spielberg. Now, that sounds like it might be a bit of a myth, but...
It's a bit strange, though, because you would think that someone would have looked at photographs.
And the other thing is, I think I read somewhere that, the machine gun is sort of firing non-stop, and so it would have overheated.
Yeah. There's but you can't argue there is a brilliant, that shot. It's like over the shoulder of the German shooter, who's out of focus, but he's basically shooting at a bunch of Americans who are getting off the boat, and he's mowing them down. And it just is, I get it's a bit inaccurate, but it's a phenomenal scene. I don't think it's really ever been bettered. The
other film that came out that year that was very good as well was The Thin Red Line. Combat scenes in that were excellent.
Yeah, that is genuinely what I would describe as a work of art, that film. It's so evocative. It's different.
Very different. Yeah, very different.
But the battle scenes in that are extraordinary, with a great performance by Nick Nolte as the shouting commander. Brilliant. Actually, that's a really good film.
It is
one for the future, maybe.
Yeah, we should do that. We should get Saul on that, because he's really into. He's written a book about all the Pacific.
Really great
in the Pacific. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. I remember Henry Ford as Roosevelt. A snippet of what his health condition.
Fonda, yeah. Mitchum's wonderful.
And Mitchum's great, of course. It's very cliche. I mean, maybe it happened. You can tell me. But, the fact that he's on the most horrific single event that's probably ever happened in the history of humankind in war, and he is still walking along the beach with a scar in his mouth, which he actually throws away and then takes another one out of his pocket, which is a fresh one. Just,
That's why we love Robert Mitchum.
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. Since the 40s, he's
very good in Dead Man. You've seen Dead Man?
Dead Man, yeah.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
Well, he's done seriously good, iconic films. Out of the Past, one of the great film noirs.
Touching Evil?
Yes, the original Cape Fear with Gregory Peck.
He's very good in the Scorsese Cape Fear.
He and Gregory Peck not reprised roles. They both have cameos. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
Very quickly with the Henry Fonda thing, playing Teddy's Roosevelt's son, he was not well and in fact had a heart attack soon after D-Day. A week after D-Day, I think, didn't he?
Roosevelt, yeah, he died.
Yeah.
He died a month later.
Like in his 50s, and he, I think, kept his health problems a bit of a secret. But he appears for, scene with Edmund O'Brien, disappears, and then appears again on the beach for about a minute.
With a walking stick.
Yeah, with a walking stick. I mean...
He says, we're in the wrong space, but,
yes,
we've landed.
We should have been down there.
We may as well carry on.
Which is true. They did drift, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the closest to the beach landing scene to Saving Private Ryan is the Robert Wagner bit where, they have to take Pont du Hoc. But yeah, okay, so let's do scenes. We've covered Saving Private Ryan. And
yeah, we had to talk about that, really.
I think next year we'll give it a go. But right, so favorite scenes. I've got the two scenes with Richard Burton.
Oh yeah, both scenes with Richard Burton, simply because Richard Burton is in those scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
John Wayne on the cart, bossing everyone around.
Yeah,
I think I did have Kenneth More scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite scene is the long, wide tracking shot of the French commandos taking the town.
Okay.
Which I think they must have used a helicopter to film it.
Oh, definitely.
It was
because it's one take.
It's a really good scene. Yes, it's great.
And it sort of veers around, and then you see them all kind of it's and then the building blows up, and then people run out, and it's good. That's for 1962. That's impressive.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, I was watching that, and that got me. I was like, wow, this is really, really good.
I know it's I would say that's that's like the best shot in the film, like an actual constructed scene. For me, I think it's the train, like that's quite a long scene.
Is that the bit with Leslie Phillips right at the beginning? Yeah, these are the resistant chaps. They're going to go and sort out the British chaps and the Jerrys.
It's when they're crouched, silently beside the track.
And there are two German sentries.
And the two German officers are approaching. And the woman says, I'll go.
Yeah.
And she gets a
bite.
No,
that's good. It's great that we both picked scenes involving the French. And when I say, you're saying tracking shot, I mean, I'm including, the actual battle for the town as well. So, where the Germans have the casino, the French have the sort of hotel. The nuns make an appearance.
Oh, yeah, the nuns, they're just walking. Get out.
That brought a tear to my eye.
In a group. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll go with, if you like, the aerial shot.
Also, it's the French liberating their own town. It's just,
that's true.
It's incredible. So that's one, just to be clear. Nothing else fine. Then.
What do you mean?
No other scenes.
Oh, another scenes. The Mitchum on the beach is good. That suspense that really got me hooked as well.
Is that when he's walking along?
There are
two kinds of people who are going to.
No, when he's silently giving the thumbs up to the guy with the Bangalore,
who then dies. It's very sad.
And that's the at least you hope they weren't trying to be overly sentimental and kind of save everyone on because this didn't happen, but I thought that was good. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, I agree. I think, okay. Well, let's move on to then the acting awards. So we've got to do best performance. Now, this is kind of difficult because no one's in it for more than sort of 5 minutes. But, okay.
Mitchum, would probably qualify the most, maybe, or John Wayne as best actor.
Yeah, well, okay. I would nominate them. So best performance, I had certainly Mitchum.
Mhm.
I had John Wayne. He can't win though, John Wayne, because
No,
he's just John Wayne.
yeah,
Richard Burton
yeah,
and
of
Richard
course.
Todd. They were my two Brits, two Americans. I don't think the French commando leader was in it for quite long enough, but he may make.
If you're nominating Richard Burton for actor along with, as opposed to supporting,
No,
along
yeah,
with John Wayne,
actor.
yeah, along with John Wayne, who has a lot more screen time,
Yeah,
then I would nominate Kurt Jurgens as well
I'm
because I thought he was awesome.
cool. Okay, all right. So we got Kurt Jurgens, John Wayne,
In which case, Kenneth More has to be. Well, I mean, technically he could be actor, but
No, he's
I mean,
in.
he's going to be supporting for me.
Yeah, he's supporting.
Mm.
So who's going to win now?
I think Kurt Jurgens was the most real.
Mate, yeah, I think Richard Burton was very real.
He was, but he was still, even when he, asked for a cigarette and he's still, I can still, it's not like I go, wow, he's never said those words before in his life.
I got him with this.
I can still see, there's a little performance going on, but he was never the most, naturalistic actor in the world.
But he's got that kind of cynical.
Mind you, he was pretty damn good in Where Eagles Dare. He was very cool.
Oh,
He was real in that a lot of the time. Second-rate punk, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. First thing that came to mind.
When we do that, that would be difficult to pick best actor.
Is that historically accurate?
No, but we're going to do it because I love it so much.
All right. It's the best man on a mission movie ever made.
It's in my top 5 films of all time, full stop. It sounds like you're very keen to go with Kurt Jurgens. I'm keen with Richard Burton, but let's go with Kurt Jurgens. Because Kurt Jurgens probably won't appear on this film podcast again.
And then he went, no, unless we do something like The Spy Who Loved Me.
He's in The Battle of Britain.
He is in The Battle of Britain, that's true.
But I don't think he's going to get nominated in that. The Battle of Britain is interesting. If you compare
it's not the best film in the world,
but it's better than, I think Battle of Britain is better.
It's better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not as good as Where Eagles Dare.
But it's constrained by the similar problem where they're trying to give the whole battle a film. And I think you do get a little bit better on character development in Battle of Britain.
Yeah, that's true. It's still a little bit. Okay. There's another criticism which is very much the fault of the British filmmaking industry in this era, like in the Battle of Britain. Now, am I right in thinking that probably most soldiers, most RAF pilots, most bombers, pilots in bomber command, fighter command, whatever, are we talking serious percentage of posh people? Because, you have the Battle of Britain and Edward Fox gets shot down. It's like, oh, jolly good, when he's offered a cigarette. And you're like, I don't think that's generally what happened.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that in this.
Yeah, Patrick Bishop has been on this podcast when we were talking about Masters of the Air, the really American TV show, and he was saying that that one of the great things about certainly Bomber Command was that it was just a mix of, you would have a brickmaker from Glasgow, EastEnder, a public school boy, all in one plane. In the Battle of Britain with fighters, I think Lovejoy, Ian McShane, about the only working class pilot in it. So I think that probably is a fair criticism.
Right, okay.
I mean, that is a problem with the British acting profession, which is, I think, more acute now than at any time. It's just all privately.
I mean, there are wonderful exceptions, like James McAvoy. In fact, probably better, in my opinion, than most, let's say, unnamed public school educated actors currently working.
Stephen Graham, he's brilliant.
Yeah, Stephen Graham. I mean, the older generation, like Ewan McGregor, well, older now, gosh, still feels like he's train spotting to me, but he.
But British TV is really a bit crap, let's face it. I mean,
yeah, in the majority
seem to offer obsessed with sort of costume.
Well, it's either
dramas.
Period costume, exactly,
yeah.
Which is always what we tended to export, particularly, or the war. Maybe a lot of people can find it sacrilegious, but 1917 to me the acting standard wasn't as high as I think it could have been. Played on this whole notion of the sorry, suffering, typically romanticized notion of Britain at war and how we kind of long for those days to come back. I don't know, weird.
Yeah, I think there's certainly an element to that. I think, yeah, I don't think it really showed the sort of the misery in the trenches, because particularly at the end, the final sort of advance scene, there's this kind of pristine trench with nice sort of gravel along either side. It looked like it just come. Charlie Dimmock had been at it, made it look like a nice feature. I didn't get the impression that was 3 years into the Great War. Anyway, where were we?
Supporting.
So who's what? Kurt Jurgens wins ahead of Robert Mitchum. Mitchum will be gutted, and Richard Todd will be sad. So supporting Kenneth More, the American paratrooper. What's going on with him? We didn't mention him. He wins money because he had received a letter.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yes, absolutely. He was in West Side Story, except the problem for me is I didn't think he was that brilliant.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was a bit acting. It was almost like he was in a bit of a West Side Story.
Right. Oh,
but that was it's the only.
I thought he was really good.
There were moments of it. Didn't he have the scene with Richard Burton at the end?
Yeah, he does.
I thought he was quite good in that scene. That whole money winning scene. Actually, the shot's really nice because it pulls out from a game into the air and it pulls back, and then it opens up to this enormous room that's packed with soldiers. I thought the shot was good, but I thought that was one of my examples of the equivalent of the Brits kind of overacting a bit. I would give it to Kenneth More. I think it was brilliant. Storms into the film with such power and conviction.
Rod Steiger's very good in his sort of
4 lines. I mean, literally, what on earth made him say? The only thing I was thinking about, and we mentioned the Thin Line earlier, is like, I wonder if just so much was cut, because the Thin Red Line was the lead when shooting was Adrian Brody, and he doesn't say a word in the final film, and he only found out at the premiere.
No,
which is renowned in Hollywood. Is this story? It was he was the lead. And he doesn't say literally does not say a single word in the final film. He's just you see a few shots of his sad face. And I wonder whether this happened with this. I mean, Sean Penn was cut quite a bit in. Oh, Gary Oldman was in the Thin Red Line, doesn't appear in it.
What?
Mickey Rourke was in it, doesn't appear in it. All cut out. Because Terrence Malick, a brilliant filmmaker that he is slightly unorthodox. There'd be moments, I think, in the film with Colin Farrell and Christopher Plummer that Terrence Malick made. That Christopher Plummer.
Oh yeah, the one about Pocahontas.
Yeah, brilliant. Actually, quite a good film. Plummer said, I like him as a person, but he needed to get himself a writer because we'd be doing something, and he'd go, guys, can we just stop? And I just want to get a shot of this bird over here. He'd do this. And Clooney said, George Clooney, who appears for 5 minutes or less, actually, in the Thin Red Line, said the same thing. Right at the
end.
Yeah, right at the end.
Was he meant to be in it longer as well, then?
I think so. And on the poster, it's all these amazing names. And you're like, yeah, but he's in it for 3 seconds.
Woody Harrelson as well. He was in it.
Woody Harrelson, he's actually really great. So I wonder if that happened here. Like Rod Steiger, you're like, well, it's Rod Steiger. Oh, he's gone.
We've got to do the Thin Red Line after you told me about that.
I think we do.
Okay, so Kenneth More wins Best Supporting because I'm struggling.
The Gary Oldman Award.
Yeah. And then so we've done Best Scene, Best Performance, the Simon Baker Award went to Kurt Jurgens.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so now I think it's legacy rating. Well, this is quite an unusual one in that the film is okay, and yeah, it's got a very high legacy rating. It's constantly on telly nowadays. It was on the other day. I would say 4 out of 5.
Yeah, how many? Because if you think about, apart from the opening of Saving Private Ryan, list the films that are really about D-Day. I mean, this is the only one that kind of deals with the events leading up and just that event.
I mean, there are others, but I think, the one that it's going to often be compared to is the TV show of Browner Brothers.
Which is actually really good.
Yeah, very good. What's interesting on this is this Longest Day cost $7.75 million to make.
That's really... Which I think about that compared to today. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're using the same picture 3 times for the glider, They made a good saving there, didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And 3 directors. They probably did it. I'm assuming they may have. I should have read up on this, that whether they shot at the same time.
yeah. Well, it made $50 million.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, it did great. It was nominated in the Oscars for Best Picture. No acting nominations.
No.
Uh, it did not get a screenplay nomination.
Yeah.
It won for Best Special Effects.
Oh, well done. Well, 1962, you know.
And it also won for Best Cinematography, which in those days was separated out into color and black and white. So it won the Best Black and White.
I mean, it was shot nice. It was very well shot. Yeah, you got to put it to them.
But how can it get special effects when they used the same picture 3 times for the glider?
Yeah, I know, but it's the way they did that same shot.
I suppose so. Yeah, it was pretty good. God, yeah. So I gotta say, it is lots of fun. Not the greatest film in the world.
Definitely worth watching for people who are interested in, who haven't seen it, who are interested in the lead up to D-Day and the actual attack.
Yeah, I think historically it gives a pretty well-rounded view of
Have
it
we
all.
done most inaccurate scene?
No, we forgot. Right, most inaccurate scene: glider hitting the barbed wire at the same time 3 times. It's like it didn't. What happened? Anyway,
I know.
Or anytime someone's shot, they kind of theatrically clutch their immaculate clothing and fall to the ground.
I mean, what did you think about the way the French couple's house is getting blasted, and he's in a sort of like euphoric state of celebration? They're coming, they're arriving, they're arriving.
Oh, I can believe that. I can certainly
living room
believe
has
that.
just been
Yeah, I think
destroyed.
Yeah, well, I think obviously you'd be a bit upset, but you've been under the Nazi jackboot
that's true.
unless you're a collaborator. But that guy wasn't a collaborator, so yeah.
No,
an episode coming up on collaboration in French collaboration soon, actually. Okay, all right. Well, this most inaccurate scene then was either the glider or
the glider.
The glider. It's really obvious. It's quite cringy, but it's also quite funny as well. Right.
I did love the little Ruperts.
Yeah, that was very good. That was very good. Who was the
dummies? They're the dummies as the decoys who are parachuted in.
Yes.
That start firing on impact with the ground. You did fool the bloody Germans.
I love that they're called Rupert. Now, who was the actor who's terribly public school, who's sort of very special chap, Rupert?
Oh, you mean the guy who shows him?
Yeah, the guy who demonstrates Rupert.
Yes, yeah. Who was that?
I don't know. Anyway, I mean, just another public school graduate from RADA, I should imagine. So there we go. Now we are going to be doing Operation Market Garden. That also covers a complex land and airborne operation, also with a massive star cast, also written by Cornelius Ryan, but I think does an infinitely better job.
When's that?
September.
Right.
Because it took place in September 44, so we're at the 80th anniversary. So we shall be doing that in September. But listeners, thank you very much for listening. This is June's Film Club. Next month, Roger Moorhouse returns, joins Tim and I to discuss Valkyrie, the film of the Tom Cruise, some might say Tom Cruise vehicle, on the July plot to kill Hitler in 1944. And directed by Bryan Singer, starring Cruise and Kenneth Branagh.
Well, a lot of British actors, actually. It's like an array of British stage actors.
Yes.
And Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So please join us for that. Until the next time. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Valkyrie next. But in the meantime, thank you and good night.